Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Conti Moore Smith, and I am a family law practitioner in the Central Florida area. And I'm also a co-owner of Law Firm Mechanics, and we have a family law mastermind retreat every year for family law attorneys. And today we are here to present to you an AI bootcamp for family law attorneys. And so we are excited to have with us Tom Martin. Tom Martin is the owner of LawDroid, correct? The CEO and founder of LawDroid. I'll let him introduce himself here momentarily, but I will tell you that I am a very happy client of LawDroid. I use their chatbot on my website and I stopped paying $31 or $35 per chat, and I went to a chatbot that was built out by Tom and his team, and it is converting like no other. It's if you're still using live chat allegedly on your website, I'm pretty sure that everyone's using a chatbot. You need to get with Tom and LawDroid and get a chatbot implemented on your website. It is a great tool and very reasonably priced. So, with that, Tom, I'm going to let you introduce yourself in more detail and then get into our AI bootcamp for family attorneys.
Thank you so much, Conti, and thank you so much for being a customer. So LawDroid, my company, I founded it because I'm myself, a small firm attorney, and I wanted to create tools that would help me to do more with less. And so that's what LawDroid is. It's a way to help law firm owners do more with less. And our tagline is to work smarter with LawDroid. So let's jump into the boot camp.
Well, hold on, Tom. And you also have a podcast that is really good. So tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, thank you. So I actually have a Substack that I'll show at the end called LawDroid Manifesto. And I have podcasts, I have articles, interview legal innovators about how they do what they do, as well as the Work Smarter podcast, where we're featuring Conti Moore.
Awesome. All right, so let's get into it.
Yeah, so the agenda is what AI is and what it's not, AI trends, practical use cases, ethics, and there's more. And so it's a lot to fit in, but I think we can get through it.
Let's get started.
All right. So what is it and what isn't it? First off, it's a phenomenon. As we know, like these are actually the number of months that it's taken for these different companies to reach 100 million users. So Uber took 70 months, Pinterest 41, Instagram 30. TikTok was actually a phenomenon at the time with only taking 9 months to reach 100 million users, but ChatGPT just blew the doors off of that for everyone by doing that and accomplishing it within 2 months. So besides that kind of uptake with users, it's here to stay. And the best way is for us to figure out how to make best use of it. It's important to understand, though, that AI is not just ChatGPT. It's also these other models and vendors that have come out. We have Llama 3 from Facebook, Gemini from Google, OpenAI, but also Cohere and Anthropic. They all are all in competition. They're all in the game, and they all have slightly different ways of approaching AI. It's really important to understand that your mindset in approaching AI is incredibly important. Don't view it as an oracle. Don't view it as like this, seer that's going to answer any question you have from on high. Like that's the mindset that led to that Schwartz case in New York, where they just took the answers as the Bible truth and they used it and they just got in trouble with that. You need to double check everything. You also don't want to think of AI as just a calculator of the next word. You probably have heard of it referred to as a language calculator. It does that, but it's actually a lot more than that too, because they ran it through human feedback and dialed it in so that it has that much more human feel to it. And that's really why ChatGPT, when it came out in November 2022, was so revolutionary. It was the first time I ever had a fluent, intelligent conversation with a machine. And so it's actually more than just a language calculator. The way to think of it, the mindset that I think is the healthiest and most beneficial for everyone, is to think of it as a helpful collaborator or assistant. It's not going to replace you. You don't have to have any worry about that, but it can help you to outcompete lawyers that don't use it. So let's look at some trends. 82% of legal professionals see the potential in generative AI. So it definitely is something that is a buzz, and I'm sure you've heard it. We're, hit every single day with a news item about AI and how it's changing the workplace. 59% of law partners believe that they should integrate generative AI in some way into their work. And then 62% of law professionals, understandably have some concerns about using AI at work. We got the Schwartz case. We actually have a number of other cases that followed Schwartz where, they use cases that were hallucinated, and there's a way to cut against that. The number one thing is that I want you to understand there's a big difference between ChatGPT on the one hand that you probably have experimented, and if not, you really should. And on the other hand, legal specific AI vendors that have built on top of the same technology. Because when you build on top of that technology, you can build in all kinds of safeguards to protect privacy, security, and also cut against hallucination. So let's look at some fun stuff, some practical use cases of generative AI and AI in general. So a Thomson Reuters survey looked at different law firms and how they think they can use generative AI. The first is in productivity, just cutting down on attorney time spent in non-billable tasks. And if you have followed the Clio Trends report at all, a few years back, they identified that there's 6 hours out of the day that are lost on non-billable time, administrative work. And so if you could automate that, save that time, and then use your own personal time for billable hours, you'd be that much more productive and profitable. Also, for drafting or summarizing legal material, this is a great use case for generative AI. It can extract information, read through a ton of information for you. Some legal research. You have CoCounsel and Harvey out there that does some basic legal research as well as LawDroid. Extracting information, document production for litigation. You could actually read through, deposition transcripts and answers to questionnaires that you send out to witnesses, and then summarize that information. And it could also help you to research your client. So broadly speaking, there's two kinds of applications of AI. One is to use it as a co-pilot, that helpful assistant, and the other one is as an agent, which can kind of interact with the world on its own. We'll talk about that a little bit. But first, the co-pilot. The most obvious one that you probably played around with is ChatGPT. And if you've used the UI, you basically put what's called a prompt in the text input where you ask ChatGPT to perform some kind of function. And the number one problem I've seen when lawyers do that is that they're far too general, and they're far too, they don't provide enough context or information for ChatGPT to really do a good job. It really feeds off of context and more information. So the more specific you can be, the better the response you're going to get. So how do you do that? Well, just like we use IRAC, issue, rule, application, conclusion, there's different formulas to use for ChatGPT that'll get you a better response. This one is called RTF, where you assign a role to the AI. So act as something, and then you assign it a task of what you want it to accomplish, and then you give it an example of what kind of format you want that response to be in. Now, this formula really helps to tease out the specifics of what you're asking the AI to do. And here's an example of it. Act like a lawyer with 30 years of experience in litigating. Give me a plan to improve my trial skills in table format. So you got the role, lots of experience, you got the task, and also the format in table format. And here, it actually provides a fairly decent plan for what to do within certain timeframes of increasing your litigation skills. And in table format, like we requested, with the activities and evaluation methods to know that you've actually accomplished that goal. So you could apply this to anything, giving it any kind of role or task or format, but it's a good framework to use. The other is called chain of thought. And chain of thought is where you provided a role in a task, but you additionally instruct it to think through it step by step. And so that step by step gives you something like this, where you say, I need to improve my motion practice. I've only been winning 25% of my motions. I don't think it's my research. I have a tough time presenting my case in court. And think this through step by step. And you can see it goes step one, step two, first to analyze and reflect on your past motions and what feedback you've received from that. And then the whole point of this framework is it really helps to break down and not give you like a general summary or a general answer, but to really give you an actionable plan. And what's better than that? You could just go through it step by step and implement it. Now, this is our product, LawDroid Copilot. We have two. This is our legal assistant, our AI legal assistant. And so what we've done is instead of you having to figure out the prompting, we built the prompts into it for you. So each of these different buttons has different functions that you could use to get what you need and to do more with less. To summarize, an image generator if you want to create images for a blog article, for example, helps you draft emails and letters. And also we can do some pretty good document analysis and extract information from documents on LawDroid Copilot. The thing that's a lot of fun right now is AI agents, because they actually take you one step further. An agent is different than a copilot because the copilot works right there with you. You put in the prompt, it gives you a response. You put in another prompt, it gives you a response. You're working in real time, one-on-one. Agents is different because you give it tools, you give it some knowledge, and then you assign it a task. And when you give it those three things, it can go and independently on its own in the world perform some kind of function for you. So a lot more like an employee or someone on your staff that can help you. So let's take a look at this. So at LawDroid, we have four. We have the lead capture bot, which I'll show you a more in-depth example of that we actually have working on Conti's website. We have a document automation bot where it can interview a client, extract information, they answer questions, and then it actually fills out a document in Word format so that you can, complete it, but it's usually about 85 to 90% done for you, where it's just based on the client's answers. We also have a generative AI Q&A bot where we attach it to a knowledge base, which is just information that you upload into our system, and then it can answer questions on the fly on its own, synthesizing the answers from the information you provided.
So hold
That's
on,
it.
Tom. I have
Yeah.
a question because I'm in the process of creating, like, I was going to create some videos for clients for my frequently asked questions. So I wanted our clients to be able to have, a database of information where they weren't getting billed for asking a question, like a general question. So you're telling me that I can now have a generative AI Q&A bot that can answer like those general questions instead of me taking the time to record a million videos?
You absolutely can. And it's so easy. Like I actually have a short video of it later I could to share with you.
Yes, I'm learning so much today. Like, yes. I was literally we have a list of questions, and I was going to spend a couple of weekends getting makeup, hair done, and creating questions and answers, like general questions and answers for clients.
Well, like I'm a big fan of like the more doors to get to the destination, the better. So like I think the videos are still a great idea. But the generative AI bot is yet another way of people getting easy access to that information. They don't have to watch the whole video, they can just get the answer.
I'm ready to start that. Let's continue though. Let's continue.
All right. So the other one, the fourth one is a new addition. See this little bot with a phone. Basically, we have a phone bot that you can connect to your phones and it will answer the phone for you, kind of like a receptionist bot. And it intelligently understands what people are saying, what they're asking for, routes them accordingly, can transfer calls to who it should go to, take messages, and email those messages to you. So it's a pretty nifty thing to basically have an
Hold
AI
on, Tom.
agent.
Hold on, Tom. Hold on. I need clarification.
Yeah.
So I use dialpad. I use a voice over IP phone.
Mhm.
So your chat phone guy will link to my dialpad, help answer and route calls.
Yes, absolutely. And you could do as much or as little of the calls as you want. Like you could have it just answering all your phone calls, or it could be, you wanted to answer after hours, or you just wanted to answer one particular line. You could do it that way. But I have it set up answering my phone calls right now for my law firm because I still have that. That's run by lawyers that work for me. I get to focus on LawDroid, which is awesome. Um, but it'll say like, are you a new client, existing client? Is this about something else? And somebody could answer like this. They could say, well, I've been working with you guys for at least 5 years now. It understands that that means an existing client and it routes them that way.
So there are so many attorneys, family law especially, that are paying these companies exorbitant amounts of money to answer their phones. And so like I have like an auto attendant that, when it comes on, it says press one, press two, press three, right? But it's, I didn't know that this was even an option. I didn't know this was available until our presentation right now.
Yeah, it takes that, that kind of old school phone tree thing up to another level because now we're using generative AI to have a more human interaction and it intelligently understands what people are saying. And there's really no need to be throwing money at people that are basically saying, what's your name, what's your number? We'll have the lawyer call you back. You can have the receptionist bot answering your phones for you.
I was today years old when I found out that this was a possibility. I'm impressed. I'm learning so much right now. Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, we do our best to help you do more with less here at LawDroid because I completely understand, and that's what I'm trying to do. So yeah, here's an example of your chatbot on your website, and this one, it pops up, provides some helpful information about the different services and consults that you have available, what the price points are. People get all that information right up front. They click to ask a question. Um, and by the way, like you pointed out before, your prior vendor, like basically asking the same questions through a chat just like this. The difference is that this one completely automated. We've provided all the scripting for the bot, so it's not going to go off the rails. It's going to ask exactly the questions that we've provided it to ask. And this is fully customizable. So, if anyone else watching this, if you want to customize this for your own services, we could update the language and make it fit specifically what you want. You have links out to different to other websites or pages. Um, for Conti, we worked in this Lawmatics form integration so that the form specific to her Lawmatics account comes up with all of that information. The potential new client would fill this out and it would be immediately sent to Lawmatics. But we also have integrations with Clio and Zapier. So if you have a Zapier account or even not, you can get one and then it'll be able to connect to thousands of different applications.
One of the
So
things I want to point out though, Tom, is that people ask this all the time with chatbots. Well, I use so and so because they can send the person directly to me to talk to them. So does LawDroid's chatbot. So you click on the call now, and people can call right now, and they can get to a live person if it's during business hours. For me, because I have the Lawmatics form within the chatbot, I'm able to have people schedule consultations 24/7. No one has to call our office to get a consultation scheduled. We're able to do it at any point on their phone, or if they're at work, they can schedule a consultation. The way that I have it is that the next business day, in the morning, I have a team member that goes through and checks all the conflicts, and then we've automated through Lawmatics the response. So if there's a conflict, we just press conflict, and that person gets an email or in a text that says, "I'm sorry, there's a conflict," blah blah blah, whatever. If it's out of our service area, then we click a button in Lawmatics, they get an email about that. So with LawDroid's help, I am able to convert at a better rate because people can instantly get a consultation with my firm scheduled. And we have a little disclaimer in here that says, it may get canceled for these reasons, and you will get notification of that later. But LawDroid has the chatbot is extremely powerful, and it's not overwhelming to set up. I don't like technology that I'm just like overwhelmed. Like there's a little form you fill out, they walk you through it. It's very easy. Tom made changes for me. Like it's a seamless onboarding process to use this chatbot on your website.
Thank you so much for that, Conti. And yeah, we're here to help you set it up and get you started as quickly as possible. Um, and let me just, well, here's the back end, right? So like if you're curious about how we put this together, this is what it looks like. It's like a flow chart. If you could put a flow chart together, you can customize your own chatbot. Now, if you're not comfortable doing it yourself, we can do it for you to get it up and running. But this is what it looks like in the back end. It's a drag and drop interface. If you've ever worked with WordPress, it's a very similar kind of look to it. And all of these little text boxes here, you just click within it, you make a change, you click save, and your changes are live. The options on the left-hand side, now we include AI models like OpenAI, Anthropic, and Gemini, but you could also do things as simple as getting a rating from a client. And if it's not a good rating, not forwarding them to your Google reviews, but if it's a good one, to forward them and capture that good feedback. This is the
Wait,
integration with lot.
wait. So I pay for Bird's Eye for my reviews.
Yeah,
So you're telling me I don't need to pay for Bird's Eye and I can use my chatbot to help get reviews.
yeah, exactly. Like because you could program in conditional logic in our system, because you could route people to however you want to, you could first ask them the question, hey, did you have a great experience with us? How would you rate us from 1 to 10? And they give you that feedback. Now, if it's a negative one, then you capture that information and we email you the feedback. But if it's a good one, let's say it's a, 8, 9, or 10, then we forward them to your reviews so that way you can capture that positive review. And all of that can be programmed within LawDroid for sure.
Okay, this is good to know. This is awesome.
Yeah, there's so much you can do within our system. And we try to make it as easy as possible with this flowchart approach.
And if you're not into the flow charts, they can assist you with helping with setting it up. So I don't recall if there's a fee for that. If there is, it's worth it. But if you're not into, some people get overwhelmed with, oh, I don't want to do all this. If you're not into that, you can answer the questions and they set up the back end for you. I've never seen the back end. They set it up for me. I suggest you pay to have them set it up for you. It's not expensive.
Yeah, the done for you it's a $400 flat fee that we charge to put it together. But for like 1 hour billable time, you have this thing set up actually working for you like an employee, so it's well worth it.
Worth the investment. Absolutely.
Yeah. This one is just a short snippet about our generative AI Q&A bot. And so this you can see here, this is what it looks like on the back end. And so you have an outgoing message. This one is geared to answer questions about the California rules of professional conduct. I'm licensed in California, so I put that in there. You connect it to a knowledge base. So I actually uploaded the entire, book of ethics for the California rules of professional conduct, and I connected it to this bot. Then we select an AI provider, in this case, GPT-4 by OpenAI. And you'll see that to get this set up is that easy. You have a prompt underneath it there that you could define how the AI is supposed to respond. And you can make sure to tell it, look, if you don't know the answer, say, I don't know. And finally, the temperature is where you could set it to be very strict about only answering with the information it has, not hallucinating. So here, let's ask it a question. Is it okay for a lawyer to share fees with a non-lawyer? And so what's going on in the background. It's quickly reading through the entire PDF of all of the rules of professional conduct, and then it's thinking about your question and doing its best to answer the question with the contents of the PDF that it has. There's no questions and answers in the PDF. it's synthesizing the answer. And this is what it comes up with. No, it's not okay. And then it states specifically why it's not okay, according to Rule 5.4 in California. And then it even gives you a citation to where it found it. So just think of all the possibilities there, where you could feed in information for you, Conti, like all of the content of your website where you've already answered a lot of these questions that you get asked by clients. And it could now, on its own, as an agent, independently be answering these questions for you.
Wow. Wow.
And finally, just to touch on ethics, Rule 1.1 requires us, of course, to remain competent about the services we provide, but also has, an implication of technological competence. So you definitely want to play around with these tools, learn more about them. 1.6, confidentiality. It's definitely important to keep all of the information confidential. We don't share any of the information that we get through LawDroid. We don't train on it. So you can rest assured that you're going to comply with 1.6 and 2.1 independent professional judgment. At the end of the day, it's your signature going on things. You're still responsible for reviewing the work product. You don't want to make the mistake that Schwartz did and just copy and paste it and file it in federal court. It's not what you do. And then
So and those are which rules are those? Or are you referencing?
oh yeah, my apologies. These are the ABA model rules.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. And then just a quick tip for ChatGPT, if you are using it, be sure to turn off model improvement. They've called it by different names, but now they're calling it model improvement. Improve the model for everyone, which means they're going to train against your data. So
Oh,
yeah. So be sure to turn this off so they do not do that. OpenAI is a little tricky. Like when they've come out with some new features like custom GPTs and things like that, they've kind of linked them together. So if you want to use the new features, you have to allow for training. So just be careful. They're a little sneaky. And
and for those that are in Florida, there's some rules that just came out in Florida. I'm trying to find them. I'll look at that. But there's an ethics opinion or something that just came out about AI and use in Florida, and so I will make sure I get that information out here, or I'll post it later on my social media.
cool. And just a few last things. There's more to follow up with. LawDroid, we have LawDroid University, and I actually just published a 5-part course on generative AI for lawyers. So if you want to jump into more depth about all of this stuff, there's 5 hours of information here on our website. It's all free. And yeah, LawDroid Manifesto that I referenced earlier. This one, it has the podcasts, it has great articles about AI and how it intersects with the law. And finally, this is LawDroid. Work smarter with our legal assistants, and we can help you get more done with less.
Awesome, Tom. I learned a lot, and I think that I'm pretty tech savvy. So we will have conversations once we conclude this webinar. But thank you so much for putting together this information. And you're going to have a link that individuals can go and get the presentation.
I do. I have a link, and you can just go to it and watch this all again.
Okay, perfect. For those that are in Florida, Florida Bar Ethics Opinion 24-1 talks about and addresses generative artificial intelligence, and it came out on January 19th, 2024. So go and look that up if you want some information or some guidance from the Florida Bar regarding how lawyers in Florida can use these tools. It's all there for you. Tom, this was great. Anything else or any last comments?
Well, just if you like to keep in touch, you could follow me on Twitter at LawDroid, also lawdroid.com. And if you want to email me, you could just do that, tom@lawdroid.com. Thank you so
Awesome.
much, Conti.
No, thank you. And if you're interested in our family law mastermind retreats that we have or our sessions, you can go to lawfirmmechanics.com. You can also join our family law mastermind Facebook group, and it's just Family Law Mastermind. So you can join the group. You'll get access to videos and information that will be helpful to your family law practice. Again, thank you so much, Tom, for all of your help and all of your knowledge and all the information. I learned a lot, and we may need to do some more webinars together in the near future.
That sounds great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.